is a Pyramid One International Network presentation. Good evening, and welcome to Conscious Speaks. Let me tell you a little about the host. Her name is Kellie J. Wright. You all know her. Tonight, be a part of the conversation. What it means to truly love yourself. Free of judgment, fear, ego, pride, and jealousy. She says, we learn to undo what we have accepted or taken on as part of our perception of self. We are free from negative self-talk. Start a 90-day transformation, and she will assist along your journey. Whenever two or more are in his presence is how this works. Kellie's ebook is how she walked her mind out of doubt and fear, one blog at a time for 13 weeks, into loving and acceptance of self. The first step is the hardest, and it will become a way of life. Once we know we can free our thoughts from fear, the work becomes a staple item to the goodness it provides. Life is a gift. So make sure you choose to wrap yours in a world that is created by and lived on your terms. Kellie J. Wright is a successful radio show host, self-love transformational guide, business owner and voice, and author at www.internaljourneys.com. Kellie is on a passion-filled mission to help individuals discover their own truth through her actualized process called the 90-Day Transformation. Now, may I introduce to you, the audience, to the entire world, to the universe, to the light, Kellie J. Wright.
Yay! Hi, Bob Charles. How are you doing today?
Oh, yeah. We're doing so good. We're a little cold. A little cold.
A little cold in Florida is what you're telling me.
Oh, God. It was terrible. I mean, first of all, it rained for like a day and a half down here. I mean, pouring rain. It's 45 degrees and raining. So it was like freezing out. Even my dog went outside, turned around, looked at me, and had enough to say, "You're kidding, right?" You go. So,
well,
yeah, it was
we've had really good weather, I think. I was just talking to my mom a little bit ago, and I think we're having a mild winter. And even out here in Ashford, Washington, I look out the window and there's all this sunlight. I'm posting pictures, but I remember that it's still January. And in Washington, that means we have winter through February. So anytime at all, Mother Nature could change her mind, and we could get a snowstorm or something like that. But it's all open to her interpretation. Right now, it's warm. I'm up next to Mount Rainier, but I was out chopping wood today, and I had a tank top on.
that's...
I can't believe it. I thought, how does this happen? I'm not going to question it, but I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, but look at that. I mean, I can see people listening to this on the archive, like a little bit of time from now. It is going to be almost 50 degrees below zero in Chicago.
Yeah, I haven't been watching all the weather or anything all over the world. I tend to stay very centered in my bubble because I know that I create my own world, and so I stay very focused on that. And I have my clients writing me about snow and different things. I'm just fascinated to hear all these stories that are going on. It's really, there's a lot of intense weather going on in other parts of the world.
Yeah, and you saw what I was doing today.
Yeah.
After lunch and things and that, I was studying things about pyramids all over the
Yeah.
world, and they found this one that's the biggest one in the entire world, and it's down in
Oh,
Mexico, and
okay.
it's more or less it's way down in Mexico. The one that I went to was Chichen Itza, and that one, I mean, I almost got arrested. I was going to go up the stairs, going up the pyramid net, and some guy turns around and he goes, "You can't go up there." So I was like, "Okie dokie." And these guys carry around raffles, like they got these machine guns on them. So I was like,
Right.
"Okay."
That would be something I'm sure you weren't supposed to do, even though you really, really wanted to.
Yeah, but it's such. I mean, they did. But I won't even go on it on here, and then I'll do it on my own show, and then I'll go into the history of this thing. But
Oh,
there was a volleyball. What like they used to play a ball game, and they used to, the losers used to die. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, they were weird people,
okay.
but but they had this rock ball that they used to go up and down the field just like they would, playing football. And they would
Hmm.
like throw this thing and then kick it and all kinds of crazy things and then get it back and forth and at the two goals on either side. And it was is a place bloodshed, went on in this place. So okay, I
Interesting.
figured I figured to myself, I said, well, let me just go right down the middle of this field, that was there, because there's two like cement walls on both sides of it. And that as you go down, but it's not cement. I mean, they're all, hand laid rocks,
Right,
from
right.
like 2,000 years ago or whatever. So okay, so I'm going down the middle, and I got to the middle of the field, and I told this to Jamie Clark on his show, and he couldn't believe it either. I said, you got to be there to do it. You go to the middle of the field, and you hear nothing. It's like the world stops in the middle of that field. I heard nothing. I saw people talking all around me, and that because they had tours going on both sides of this field. I was the only not crazy, wild and crazy guy that was standing in the middle of this field. But
So
I like to.
you were in a vortex.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, it was like everything turned off. And then I walked a little
Good.
bit further and it came back. And then I walked back and it turned off. And I said, hey, man, this is cool.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I
not
was like,
traveling with you ever. You're getting kicked out of pyramids.
I'm,
You're in near sub-zero vortex zones. It's just
that's all
like,
right. That's all right. I give you one better. And that because and everybody that's
yeah.
going to watch this on the video screen there later and that they'll see my hands and that movement. But we're sitting at the how'd they call that again? The worship spot of the gods of Coca-Cola. It's like a
Okay.
little refreshment stand that's dead center in the middle of this historical artifact, you know, thing. I mean, with all these buildings and everything, and they're from all the Indians a long time ago. So,
Hmm.
okay, I figured like it's okay. It's only 99 degrees. I might as well go get a Coke, right? So I go get a Coke, and I'm sitting there, and I got a couple of people sitting on both sides of me, and we're all talking and everything else. Well, this iguana wants to come down and play with me. He's about this big. So I turn around and I go, "No, you can't have any. Go away." And he did. I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, that reminds me of the seagulls at the zoo. You were talking about the refreshment stand in the middle of, where this adventure that you're on. You're also talking about artifacts, and it really brings me into my adventure, buying my home out, my first home, and really sinking into my cabin out here in the woods. And the artifacts that I've been finding lately. I don't know if you've been following me on Facebook or Instagram. I've been having some amazing experiences with chopping wood, and I don't have an iguana, hanging out
No,
with
no,
me,
no.
but I do have the sun, and so it's been a really interesting last couple of days. And I wanted to do. I don't know if you know, but it was my birthday. I'm gonna do a little birthday check-in while we're waiting for some calls to come in. For our self-love mastery radio show, and I just turned 49.
Whoa, that's young.
Everyone keeps telling me, "Oh, you only turned 29 once," and I always laugh because I love the whole process of aging, and I love being here, and I really love growing into myself. So I'm really already looking for at 50. I mean, that's going to be so fun, but I'm only like 3 days into 49, and
but you look. Yeah, but wait a minute. Whoa. Stop. No. I know where you're going with this. Now, wait a minute. Hold it. I mean, you can go. I'm going to let you go, but you don't look 49. So I mean, it's just like me. And that if I told everybody my age and that when I look like I do now right now, and I look, and the bod is all there and everything else. I mean, people would fall on the floor and go, "You're kidding." I mean, I've been into places now where there's places that like if you're 65 years old and over or whatever else, you get a discount and all this kind of crazy stuff. I have to identify myself with my driver's license.
I think
it's crazy.
I think that all of us humans are aging better. Exercise, there was an exercise revolution. People started eating healthy, healthier. Now everyone's really looking at veganism and really getting into trying to get off animal proteins and fats. So I think people are, plus all the money that goes into medical treatments and things that you do, people are just looking younger. I think we are caring for our vehicles in a way that's unprecedented, but makes sense because literally all we do is grow forward. So as we're growing forward, since the supposed big boom, it's just a slow fanning forward of time, and it makes sense that we're going to start figuring out how to take better care of our bodies, and our cellular structure and our matter and how we feed our body is really how we create the beautiful tabernacle that we live in. I was talking to a client just about this recently, and what we think we want, what we need are two different things, but until you know that, everything you crave, you think you need, but your body doesn't need much to be at its optimum. And it does need certain things, though. So if you have a diet that literally lacks all of that, you're not in balance.
Well, so, you got the mind,
when we're
spirit,
trying,
body.
We look younger.
Yeah, but you got the mind. You have the mind, spirit, body.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to seat your mind first. You have to clear that so you can seat your soul. And so it's mind, body, work to seat the soul. And they all three, literally, they all work in conjunction or out of junction, right? And when I first started my first 90-day transformation, when I meditated on that to find out what my commitment state would be, it really was to become balanced in mind, body, and soul to find true love. And I didn't realize that was truly going to be me. That was the gift at the end of my first transformation. It made sense to me that was my directive from spirit, because I literally fell to my knees when I wrote the book to walk my mind out of itself, when I was at the end of another failed relationship at 43, and I didn't want to keep going around in those circles. And I had meditated long enough to realize I had been in love once, and I knew what that was like. And if I'd been there once, I could get there again, but I needed to clear out all the things that happened along the way that I had blocked after that, because it took me a long time to find the work after my divorce. And it's interesting because I've had this conversation with a potential client today, and it's been a 6-year journey. It's not. I remember one of my friends, Maureen O'Neill, laughing when I said, "Oh, I'm going to do a 90-day transformation to become balanced in mind, body, and soul." And it's like, really, just 90 days? And I had no clue what I was doing. I was just following spirit-led, following my heart to make my life be what I had always longed for it to be, to meet myself backwards in time. And it's interesting because literally, at 49, I write my posts, I write my check-in. We all kind of check in with ourselves on our birthdays or our years. And I wrote a little post, and I was talking about, where I was in my life, and I was going to write more about it and check in on my birthday. And I realized what I had already written and was going to check in more about was everything I'd been writing about. I was going back to just touch it again, to say, yeah, this is what I did, this is where I came. And when I woke up on my birthday morning, when I woke up the morning of January 25th, 2019, it wasn't, I just was like, I don't want to write about that anymore. I don't want to touch base to show where I've come. I'm ready to claim my now in full abundance. And I woke up and, it was 1:44 in the morning, and I laughed because I was like, really? I'm getting up now? And then I go to bed so early, though. But then I walked in the kitchen, and it was 4:41 on my stove. And I thought, wow, that's interesting, the inverse of those numbers. I'm really into numbers. So I looked them up, and I decided to take the day off for me and really just sit with everything I've created in my life and the beautiful peace, right? That when you're in the middle of that field, at that site, and you heard no sound, that's kind of the peace that I've created. So I sat in that on my birthday morning, and I called my aunt and I said, I'm not going to do anything today. I'm going to just be with me for a while.
That's a nice thing to do. Yeah, you could just sit there. Did you ever get any of these?
What is that?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
No, like
Happy birthday.
Actually, I shouldn't say that. My aunt sings happy birthday to me every year on my birthday, and my mom does too. So I'm just like, I guess I did, but not like that. I did write myself something. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you something. We do have a caller. We do have a caller. So
Okay.
I just want to tell the caller, just hang in there. You're listening to what's going on here and that, and I'll be to you in a second. And as far as what you wrote, yeah, put it on.
I always want to put me last. I put myself first my whole life, and and I believe everything happens the way it's supposed to be. And so I am also going to do a reading today, and but I want to take the caller. I don't want them to sit there. I want to talk to them.
You want to talk to them? You sure?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do.
Let's see. Caller, I think you're on, so let me unmute you over here. Okay, go ahead. See if we can hear you. There you are. I hear you.
Sandra.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Kelly. It's Sandra.
Oh, Sandra, I wrote down your name in the notes because I thought I'm going to remember to say that you were calling in today. Thank you for calling in. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well, but I'm sorry. We have a really bad connection. There's a lot of static. I think it's on my end due to the weather.
Oh, you live by the water?
No, in New Jersey.
No, she said weather.
Oh, due to the weather, so we do have a bad connection.
Yeah, you sound great here, though.
You sound great. Bob can hear you. Maybe it's just you and I. How are you doing today? Did you listen to the show? Any of the new shows that the last two?
No, this one is the first one with me doing my homework and everything. I'm trying to catch up.
Did you have any thing that you wanted to bring up or talk about, or did you call in to give me some love?
I called to give you love because you are amazing.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I'm so thankful that you are here and you do what you do to help other people.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you so much. I thank you. You've been with me and supporting me and following and reading and sharing my work. And it's really a circle. We can't do it. I couldn't do it without you and without others. So the mirrors that we hold up really are beautiful. I love talking to you. And when we were talking when you were making dinner the other day, that was really fun when we were messaging on Facebook.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm making dinner.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
No, I just wanted to call and thank you because you're so inspiring. And whenever I'm having a bad day, you always send in the right message. So you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you for calling in and telling me that. I really appreciate it.
Oh, anytime. You guys have a great day, okay?
You too, you too. Talk to you soon, and stay, I guess, warm, right?
Yeah.
Cold in New Jersey.
She can also stay on the line if she wants to, and that I'll just mute you on our end, and you can listen to the whole show, or just go into the archives, or go on to the landing page, and you can see us face to face.
Yeah, you can. You can see us. Thank you, Sandra. Sandra's really, really cool. Bye, Sandra. Sandra's very cool. I interact with kindred spirits, and so Sandra will let me know when she really likes something I've written. And there was one time where when I believe in the work we do, we move from mind-based thinking to heart-based being. And so because when I fell to my knees, I was really working to deconstruct fear and all those blocks. Everything that I look back and I'm like, well, then everything I was writing from fear-based. I was fear showing me a way to try and break through it, through my words, through my feelings, through my emotions. And so when I really felt like I was in a place where I really seated the soul and I could write from love-based being, it really was dawned on me that maybe I should go back and look at some of my writings and I could flip them. It's something we work on in the second 90-day transformation, is learning to not only hear what we're saying, but look at the opposite way that we could reframe it. First, we're going to go on reactions, right? We're naturally set up to act. We're action based, right? We're going to run to something, we're going to run away. So when we do this work, we really learn how to not to react. We learn how to be the calm of our storm, and we learn how to be in real time to see what's going on. And I thought, well, I'm going to go back and rewrite a blog from love-based being. And Sandra caught on to that, and she goes, oh gosh, I want to hear that, right? So I wasn't able to process it as quickly as possible. So I kept in touch with her every once in a while because it got pushed to the back. And I said, I'm still working on this blog. I'm going to flip it to love-based being. I'm going to send it to you, see what you think. I'll send it to you first. So we had that fun communication, and that's just one of the ways that I love to interact with people who are really looking to interact with me in a way to connect spiritually, right? To grow and to share. And I have that connection with some really wonderful people that I met on social media through Facebook, which is the only place that I really have lived and grown in out loud the last 6 years. And I've never really looked outside past what I'll connect to naturally. I really believe in connections. It's never about numbers. It's about what's meant to be. I've never bought likes. I've never paid to have, promote my, work or push things out. We just kind of move within the growth and the abundance as it's being provided. And this is a big year for me. And, getting back on radio is really big. Having people like Sandra call in, and I know Diana wrote to me and said she had sent us some messages in the chat room last week, and you said we might have missed that, so you were going to check on that. But it's really fun, and I hope that people start calling in more, even if you just want to say hi, or eventually if something moves you. And I guess that kind of cues me up to
let me remind everybody of one thing. If you're going to send any messages in the chat chat room is the now. Okay? It is in real time. I see it right now. If you write it and you're listening right now, I can see it right now. If you don't write it right now, I miss it.
Okay, so it does go away. We're all learning together, and that's the fun part. The more that we can reach out and share, and this is a message to anyone out there listening. If you call and you don't make it in, or if you send a message and you don't get a response, let Bob or I know, because we want to be able to go, okay, where did we miss that, or how can we figure out how to do that better next time? So
how can we help them? I mean, the last caller that came in, she followed the direction. She came into the show. She sounded like God. Hey, that's how you do
perfect.
It. Now, 1,000 people can go into this thing. So come on, call.
They'll call. And the thing is, a lot of time what I've learned is it's not always about calling. When I think that's going to happen, and I look forward to it, but that's going to be organic as well and grow slowly, just like this process, just like my journey. I started it, and I used to tell my old hosts on my radio show, I assume nobody's listening, and then if someone responds, I'll know, because I'm doing this for the joy of it. It's not, I don't think about who's out there listening, because then I won't be able to do my work. I do work, and I know that it'll connect to who it's supposed to, even if it's just one caller, right? And so, and we never know who that one person is. But then what happens in life is when things get good, we start to tell, like you said, remember we talked about that on First Radio, one friend tells two friends tell three friends. And if we work in that, I want to say genome for some reason, but if we do work in that genome, we really will organically create the life that we're meant to have, not the one that we're seeking for reasons that we're not sure of. And that might not make sense. Anyone could call in and ask me if it doesn't. But what I did want to talk about is, even in birthdays when we're making our statements to look back in the line, even when we do spiritual work, when we're learning to move from fear-based thinking to from mind-based thinking to heart-based being, it's a process. It's slow. It's so personal, Bob, that we are afraid to be seen. We can't even see that we can't see ourselves. The things that I've seen about myself, I laugh sometimes, but I'm shocked, and I'm glad I'm the only one who remembers, because I try to remind my clients all the time, nobody thinks about you more than you. So whatever you're beating yourself up about, literally, it's just you in your mind. Everyone else is out there doing the same things to themselves, or they're busy doing other things. And so in this process, I learned that by slowly taking the time, one thought at a time, to walk this journey and this path. And, I woke up January 25th, and instead of going back and doing a touch base, this is where I was, this is how this started, this is where I am, I sat down and was really quiet for a while. And I just wrote these little notes. It says, my life is full of abundance. I am abundant. Grace, I am dignity. I choose to light up the world with love and awe, all mirrored to me by those same mirrors I am. You can too. Ask me, right? So what it is learning how to embrace those words to change our internal dictionary to ourselves. I couldn't have wrote this to myself 6 years ago. I didn't have the faith, and I was very, very far along in my journey. Even after I wrote the book, these words wouldn't have flown with ownership. It takes time to really believe I am, as you know, right? You can see it, but I remember the first time I started whispering that to myself as affirmation, I thought, am I? Right? We're questioning, like, I am I? Right? And it's like a baby step into this waters of your life to really free everything so you can, like, raise up again.
Yeah, but you got to tell everybody, though, do not question it.
Well, that's the process, right?
That's it. Period.
Well, and I'd like to take it a step further. If you feel like question it. At least you asked it and got to the point to question it.
Right.
Sometimes we hang behind. We're still at that finish line going, I'm not sure if I want to even say that, because am I worthy? Can I be? Is that true? Like when I just got spiritual chills. When I used to say, I am love, it really was like, am I? I am perfect. I am whole, right? I'm like, I don't know. Am I? I mean, these things would come to my mind after I uttered it to my affirmation. And I was so okay with that, because that's part of the process. We step in, we question, we work with it, we go forward. It is a slow unwinding of everything we've wound up. And so it can be very overwhelming to someone who feels like they're ready to ask, what is I am? And they might want to maybe start using it. And then when you question it, then they're thinking, I can't do it. I'm not it. Well, you are. And it's a slow unwinding, right? I am, maybe I'm not. But you asked, and that's the step in. That's the doorway opening. And it really is one of those things where I was working, and if we get into it, I'll go into it later about how this came up, but I did a small check-in yesterday, and in my connection that I was sharing, I was reminded of my blog called Circles and Rings, and this was written a couple of years ago, and I wanted to read it today to anyone out there listening, and it goes like this. It says, if you think you are alone in your lesson, stop for just a second, then put your hand to your chest. Touch your heart, close your eyes, and breathe in one deep breath. Upon slowly exhaling, know that we are all in a lesson. Our lives are living lessons. Some of us are aware of this, and some are not. Others are on the tip of this knowing, sitting at the cusp of awakening, one step from all that will hearken them into the light. Awakenings are happening daily. Some may be in the middle of this reading, or in a dream later tonight. And so it is. But there is one thing I do know faithfully and believe with all of my heart. God can wake us up in a split second once we are surrendered in the right frequency. Completely open and ready to do thy works, not thine. Dedicated to the truth no matter what it looks like on the outside or feels like on the inside. No one is immune from their lessons either. The lessons of love and fear, and all of their joys and heartaches are a part of the designer seed given to us through birth. Seeds that burn us from the inside out while trying to connect in real time. How we grow forward depends on a lot. And it is all a part of our unfolding of the beliefs that we can change the way we feel about ourselves, one thought at a time. Oh no, we cannot just want for these chasms to be filled. We have to leap into them with a passion that is unbridled. We must work for them. We must process all happenings until we have processed all blocks in earnest. Or we circle. We circle the cave of our heart. We circle the path of resistance. We circle the stars of trust, not being able to fully lay down our pride, but all the while curled up inside like a ball, which is a circle. We circle the memories in our minds. We circle all the invisible walls of reasoning that we did not choose but keep us locked in a circle of untruth disguised as a feeling of fearful protection. An invisible boundary to self that shields us from the truth that we are all one. Yes, we are all the lessons and the middle and the fourth steps of intended growing in to be resurrected in the now. Internal narcissist believes that if your lessons end with someone, that just means you're taking them somewhere else. We cannot escape our lessons. They are written down, and love never stops or leaves. It burns into another circle in our cycle of life. Another layer in the ring of the tree of you to circle until the day we hand walk ourselves into the fire that is roaring so loud that we cannot help but walk straight into it, arms at our sides, eyes wide open, mouth agape, in the sincerest trust that we finally may burn free of the insanity. Oh yes, we can leave a less that stings when we need rest, and we should. Self-care is so important, and we may need to, for this work is hard. But we do take ourselves wherever we go in another ring of time and space. A place to stave off the pain while we circle another lesson that rings. Rings in our minds eternal. Rings of our tree eternal. The rings in our hearts eternal. The rings in our ears eternal. The rings in the waters of our destinies eternal as the ripples of cause and effect bleed out eternal. Oh, loved ones, beautiful people, please, I implore you to find the pain and the fears of your sorrow that have not yet deemed you worthy enough to be faced. To not keep taking them from one place to the next and give yourself a chance to grow in and not circle. That's circles and rings. And if you have any questions, or if you have anything that it brought to mind, I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. That was good. You got
What'd you
going
think?
from me. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you think anything come to mind there, Bob, or did I?
No, actually, I just take it all in, and then I'll probably think about it later. But there's some things that I have to go through in that. But everything that you said is so true. I mean, we've actually, there's pieces of that we've discussed in number 1 and 2 show.
Right. The thing about it is it's how we connect, right? We all are floating through this harmonic resonance of time. It's all energy, as we've discussed. So who do we connect to? Whose harmonic energies do we connect to, and that can help raise our vibration? I didn't forget about circles and rings. I love this blog. I wrote for 250 blogs when I was living and going out loud. I have over 100 radio shows, but as you know, they're on my website that's down, and I never question. I'm like, I guess it's down for a reason. It'll come back up when we're ready. We're working on the new website. But when I was out chopping wood, and I had this beautiful epiphany come to me, circles and rings came through. At Internal Journeys, we really believe that all we have is real time. And so we work with what comes up in real time. I think that we provide ourselves every clue we need outside of ourselves. That everything in our life we've placed in our view or we've placed around us as a part of our dream that we're building. And sometimes I liken it to a video game, and I don't play them, but I understand them. And they go for quests, and you have this certain artifact, like you were talking about, that you have to find. But maybe you've got to go to the Badlands, or you've got to go to the pyramids. Maybe you have to go to the woods. So you're on a quest through the space and time that we live in here to connect and awaken all these little treasures that you have inside of you, right? And so I think that's the way that we process the quickest, to be able to really see, what am I providing myself with the things that I'm placing myself in or around? And how does that have to do with the story that I am? And is it in truth with my truth? Am I being who I came to be? Or am I still working in old, outdated scripts that are who I became along the way when I didn't have all the tools that I have now, right? When we draw the line in the sands of time.
Ooh,
To look
that's
backward.
good. It's like I said, you are what you are because this is how you came to this world. So
And beautiful.
you will be the beautiful person that you came in for the rest of your life till you
And that's,
go for another
yeah,
shot around.
yeah.
But
Well,
at the
and that's
same
the
time, you
truth.
got to
Beauty's been
realize it.
I believe beauty's been manhandled. It's one of the blogs that we work at when we set the foundation of self-love is beauty, and and beauty is the way it's treated outside of us is so fickle. People can change their idea of what it is in a minute. So the truth is, once we realize that beauty is not outside of us, it's inside of us. I mean, that's the whole preface of internal narcissies. It's never about being in love with who you are, your reflection. It's looking to love yourself so deeply on inside for who you came to be, so you could be that person and shine bright. Really open up that love light, right? Shine through
Right.
from that anaharta space, that unstruck space, to shine out that light and know that however you came to be, that is your most beautiful spot. Anything outside of you trying to tell you otherwise is a test to your trust or to your sanity. Because if we're always trying to meet other people's expectations of beauty, let alone societal ideas which change, on whim, we're never going to be at peace. And I think the true joy in life is to find, I was talking about it today to a client, is to find that resting heartbeat. You know how people are saying, oh, where's your resting heartbeat? Well, I think when we want to be centered, that's truly how we find our true beauty, is finding that resting place where we don't look for anything outside of us to provide us our self-worth, when we don't look outside of us for something to complete us, when we know how to comfort our own self, right? And it's not hard work, but it's taking that first look to realize I might be doing it wrong. Maybe there's another way to do it. If I'm 80% happy with my life, is that enough, or do I want to go to 100%? And for me, that was where I wanted to be. I created this life that I was comfortable enough with my balance, right? But then I realized that I wasn't able to get any further, and that's when I really had to stop and do the work. And everybody else that is doing it is excelling. It's a whole mass awakening. People are really finding that self-love is the truth. It is the way.
Oh boy, it's like, I'm serious. I mean, look, you guys, yeah, everybody listening, and I can see it. I mean, I have a graph here. It shows me how many people are on there. You're all listening. Call in. Do something. You have to move. Go to the chat box. Talk to us.
Oh,
The reason I'm saying is,
I don't ever want to push anyone to call in, because I believe that if someone's listening, again, it's like taking that chance to say, I am. We want to honor everyone right where they are. I will never feel bad if someone doesn't call in. I don't even, I won't even know that someone wanted to or didn't. If I'm a voice in the dark to help others hear that right sentence or right word, and to bring and connect to other like minds who come on the radio show when we have guests, we really are doing our part. And if someone's encouraged to call in, it's hard to pick up a call and call into a radio show. It's not for you or I, because we're used to being on the radio. But that's a big veil to drop. Even if you use a name that's not yours, even if you just get on the radio, we know that no one else knows who they are. But the truth is, that's not who we're working with. We're always working inside of us with our own little inner demons, child, whatever, that are going, no, you shouldn't call, that no one wants to talk to you, you're not good enough, or what question are you going to ask, right? It's like me, my whole life, not being able to turn that mirror. I wasn't worthy enough, right? Why aren't my relationships working? And well, it's just the way it's going to be. The negative self-talk and the comfort that I had, wound myself up in was really nerve-wracking near the end. And that's what it takes to break open, is to get to the point where you're just more, it's less comfortable protecting your pain than it is. I was finally ready. I'd rather go out and take a chance getting hurt by participating than sit here and be in this pain, because at first it's comfortable because you know it. It's what you know. That's what raised you. But there's a point where the tipping point comes, and you have to be willing to bridge out and make that call, like you said, or write that question in the chat room.
Exactly.
call that coach that you see, that you connect to so much, that you think that you'd like to work with, and you don't think you ever could, but you never know until you call, right?
It's one step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's one step. I have a big family, and we are all very close. And everybody in my family. There's 3 kids on my mom's side and 3 kids on my aunt's side. My uncle also has 3 children, but they grew up further away. Me and my cousins all grew up pretty much as siblings because we were so close. And everyone has 2 kids except for me. So, and in that generation, we only had 1 girl, which was funny. But that one step in front of the other is how whenever I was working with them on my turn, would teach them how to walk. You know, the abominable snowman
Yep.
from the rain. And so when anyone says one step in front of the other, even if you put a musical hint to it, I'm a sound healer, so everything is tonal. I think of teaching my first nephew Trey how to walk, and Taryn, and then all the other kids, and it's we really are retraining ourselves to walk. But the thing is, we're never told it's okay to accept that we might be wrong. We grow up kind of defending that we have to be right, because we think that being wrong is bad, or we're taught that it doesn't get the same reward system as being right. So technically, we're undoing a lot of familial communication skills that were internal and ingested and created by a child that really, from infancy on, had no participation to really think about what they were implementing to protect them. They were just survival skills. So to undo those can be very terrifying. Very terrifying. And we think, oh, it's just easy to pick up a phone or come start a 90-day transformation. I'm so honored when anyone takes a look to even work with me, because I know how hard it is to make that reach out. I'm the crazy one. I was banging on Spirit's door my whole life. I was like yelling at God. No, I know there's a way through this. I mean, I was studying the Lord's Prayer since I was a young girl, going, there's a way through this. This is just words, but there's a way through this to get somewhere else, right? And so some of us, have a little bit of those things that we still knew at a certain age, and some of us grew up in so much pain that what we remembered or could have remembered to bring forward, they got covered over in surviving. So there's no shame, and that's why I live and grow out loud. I don't talk about the particulars a lot unless it comes up in a conversation on a radio show or with my clients. Otherwise, I just show adjustments, because no matter what's going on, everyone's dealing with love and fear. Internal Journeys is non-denominational. I had someone try to sell something they were trying to say that it was a spiritual show, and I said, well, Internal Journeys in radio is a non-denominational show. Now, I'm spiritual, but I can work with anyone, because we're just working with love and fear, and I do work with people that are different faiths, some atheists. This is not about your belief system. This is about what you think about yourself. It's what you think about yourself, because how you think about yourself creates your belief system. So at your core level, we just want to go in and find the little blocks so you can remember that you're beautiful and stunning exactly as you are. And once you can own this, you can change your words, change your life, change your frequency, and create a life that you're at peace with. We do not have to live the life that society prescribes us, or we do not have to suffer in the one that we think we can't get out of. People can be happy wherever they are, I believe, once we realize that we chose to be there, and we can choose to be happy, or we can create a new, different place to be. No one's ever stuck, right?
A conversation that I had in another show. Everybody is beautiful, but a lot of them don't realize they're beautiful. They turn around and go, oh, well, I'm okay. No, you're not okay. I mean, I've said this, where I go in the morning. And then I say it to people. I mean, I've stood up at a table. We're having breakfast. And I stood up at the breakfast. And I said, all of you. And I did. I really, really did. Everybody thought I was totally toasted. And it was only orange juice. But I got up and I said, all of you are beautiful today and tomorrow and the next day. And they all started clapping, right there. Because they didn't realize that beautiful is a great word. And it makes you feel really good. I mean, it puts like lightning through you. when you
Yeah.
actually realize that you are you. You are beautiful. You are part of the whole.
The whole, right. And it's so funny. That's one phrase I work on, because it's not, I don't know why we all use it's so funny, but it's just a cue to change the subject. The third blog that we work on in setting the first 4 blogs in weeks in a 9-day transformation, they set the precedence of self-love. And the third blog is called Beauty. And it goes like this. I'm just prompted to read it for some reason, but it says, real beauty shines from within. It is called radiance. It glows and shines. It wisps and curls around the molecules within our body, causing us to affect others with our very presence. The other beauty will affect people until their internal knowledge senses no radiance, no glow, no pureness of thought, no hope or dignity within the other. The most beautiful beauty is a blending of intent and purpose for a life realized and understood to be exactly where and what it is, and it does not need to be anything else. Once realized on a core level, this truth resonates and protects in an everlasting ability to shine. Of course, we all have days like that, the ones Mother warned us about, but that is life, and life does not need to affect our core belief system. We need this system to breathe us through the everyday occurrences that affect our life, so they do not define our life. That said, I believe every action happens as it should. Maybe not as we want, but as it is intended to match lessons that must be learned in that moment in time. Often we know not what these lessons are, or why they hurt and pull us in so many directions. My truth is, we may never know that it is for a greater purpose that we only participate in, creating ripples in our universe of cause and effect. Naturally, we are all bodies and souls in motion, and we should pay careful attention to the backdrops of our mind, always thinking about and pondering life's occurrences as we dance within and through this mortal coil, learning as we are able to, and not always as we may like by trying to fast forward to where we think we want to be. Each occurrence is meant to be a lesson for growth and knowledge gained. Our strength and ability to persevere is what builds this knowledge and makes us beautiful. Each soul is stunning in whatever effect it needs to be while here on earth. Remember, there's only one you, and you must care for yourself as your prized possession, that you would never harm or let others harm. This is a practice and not easy all the time. But I do not think life was meant to be easy, for we are far too clever. I think we are challenged, pushed, and tested in the hope we may truly learn to see. Internal narcissism is learning to recognize beauty comes from growth and knowledge of self, affecting the internal beauty that resides within all of us to shine bright.
Bingo.
Right?
You hit it right on top of the nail.
And if we were taught that that's how we could share and see what beauty is, but it was given a whole nother definition throughout the ages. And so, not that we can't, I think that everyone, I have a blog called Behold, and it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder, whose eye do you behold, right? And I believe the universe is, beholding us, but until we realize that we're all one, we're running on what other people think, because we haven't found our own truth yet, our own words. So the school of thought that created even these awakenings in me of knowledges that I've known or brought through, and others, this is not old, this is not new, it's just my way of interpreting what came through, but this is the true essence of life. And it just got backseated for a while. And it slowly, I talk to people who are light workers and spiritual workers, even my aunt, people that are older than me, and they say, we had to hide what we did for a long time. We weren't able to say, I'm a light worker, or I'm a spiritual, because people would make fun of them or shame them. And so with this whole, the internet and social media and people searching and seeking and having access to bits of knowledge that they never did before, and maybe even if they don't want their friends to know, but they thought, I dreamt about this, I want to look it up, or someone mentioned that, I'm sure to know what that means. People can do their own research and really start awakening to the love that they come from, the love that's inside of them, right? It's beautiful.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, and this radio show, you've given me a place to do the radio show, and it's really a powerful platform. I think everything happens for a reason. So I love being here. I love what we're connecting. I love pyramids. So it's really funny that, for my birthday check-in, you're talking about your visits to the pyramids. And so I study Egyptology, and I study all religion and enlightenment because I wanted to understand people, and I wanted to understand them as all as one. I didn't want to just walk around not knowing how other people viewed or saw themselves.
Yeah, so many people, and maybe this is just something that just ran by on me and that from today, but a lot of people now, they'll not really, I don't know what you would say, believe or urge themselves to like themselves better.
Well, people are busy.
Like
I'm going to give them a life vest.
What you talked about was being beautiful. Now,
truly
that's
beautiful. Yes.
Okay, but that's something that we're born with. We're beautiful.
Yeah.
If anybody changes your mind, too bad. You were born that way. That's the way it is. End of story. Now, if you have to realize it again, doesn't matter. You had it anyway. You're just redoing, what you believe.
Right. People are just remembering their true beauty, their true essence, because nobody wants to forget that they can shine bright, and that they are a beautiful manifestation of, nature and, what I like to call matter and patter, mother and father, right? Which we take the patterns, which is a father, and we connect the patterns to matter, which is mother, and we have life, right? So you have father, mother, life, and it's when you start you have to experience it. That's the first thing. People can tell you anything, and we could be interested, but until you could be it, it's just mind-blowing. And even I, 6 years ago, I thought I knew a lot before, I fell to my knees and wrote this book. When I wrote this book, 1 week at a time through deep water work, meditation, literally at the point where I luckily had hit every wall and banged on every, frequency I could to say, hello, I'm not going away, help me figure out a way through this. I walked my mind out of myself, and at the end I really felt like I was blind, but I could see. I mean, the jail cell had been lifted, and I look at it, and I work with my clients, and they're doing the same thing, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, the way that we love ourselves is how we love others. I truly believe we can only treat another the way we treat ourselves, and the way that changes is if we don't like the way that we're reacting, we switch to people. And the problem is we need to go inside and look at ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And figure out. And it's not because we're bad. It's not because we did something wrong. It's because somewhere along the line we got hurt. And that's all it is. Fear is unrealized love. I believe that from the bottom of my heart. So as soon as we could flip that mirror back and realize we don't have to be hurt anymore, that whatever we misunderstood or what happened, that we can really change that fear and let it go. I woke up, and on my 49th birthday, which I've been looking forward to for a long time. I'm into numbers. 4 and 9 is 13. That's my favorite number, right? And 3 and 1 is 4. That's a foundation. I've been looking forward to this. And I woke up, and instead of writing that old story, which I talk about in a blog I have called I wrote myself a new one. Right? I didn't have to go back to let me touch space so I can remember where I came from. No, honey, you did it. You're here. Now let's be who you came to be. Let's shine bright in the hues of your own intentions. Let's really rock this world. You did the work.
There you go, right there. You just said it in a couple of words. You got to do the work.
Yeah.
Got to do the work.
Yeah.
And anybody out there, anybody that's listening, and there's nobody in the chat room right now, and there's nobody in the phone room, but you'll be there, I know. But, the thing is this, out of all those people that have all these problems and everything else in it, all they have to do is look at the problem and do something about it. Now, a lot of people, what goes on a lot of times is people will go on the internet and they will look up everybody else's problems. And then they'll try to relate to those problems to themselves.
Yeah. It's a step. When we put the quote unquote all they have to do, we make it really uninclusive. Because if technically I was one of those people at one point, you know, I think everyone's doing the best that they can, and I believe that we all stop and start in different places, and I believe that we're all meant to be at different levels of awakening, because the way that I believe it works here spiritually is that we're all on a journey to evolve through our spiritual growth, and everybody's not in the same spot. We're at different places, and so some of us are further along than the other, and we can actually help them if they hear the call, speed it up a little bit, right? And others will, you know, I don't know how many times I had to come back to get through what I pulled through in this book, what I'm able to help others with in the process I created. I'm amazed. You know, I always knew that where I was going. I always knew that the second part of my life would be the best part of my life. I knew that I was going to help others through my writing and through my words, but I didn't know it was going to be this. I never could have expected it to be this amazing, and I'm really, I'm just thankful and grateful that I didn't stop, because there's points in my life where other people probably, you know, wouldn't have done some of the things I did to break through. I was not afraid to be who I was and to be very vocal and proud about who I was, to figure out a way through. And I think what happens is, when we're afraid to be our truth, then we jail ourselves in a little bit more. And society would rather deem us unworthy by stigmatizing us, shaming us, instead of realizing that I believe anything that dramatic that's happening, I think is a cry from the light from behind our fear going open, open, open. But yet we are programmed in our reptilian brain. Go, oh, pain, run, 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 run. It's like all the angels or however you want to connect is on the other side of the pain going, no, 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 come here. This is a light. Come through the pain. But it's really hard. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. But it's so amazing. The work is so amazing. Once you get through that first flip, I talk about it in my bio, it becomes a way of life. It's a staple item to goodness that you just don't want to put down, because you realize there's a better way. You can be at more peace, deep inner peace, and you don't need anything outside of you to fulfill you, that you create your life with your own love for yourself, and that shines out.
Why don't you tell everybody, actually show them and tell them where to get your writings, where to get the website, how to get in touch with you, and I will put it out there that you have to call. It's on the blog. Just go to bobcharlesshow.blogspot.com. I would say between Friday and Saturday, the blog is up for this show. You can listen to, you can watch on the landing page, and if you go to the landing page, you can actually watch this show as it happened. No editing at all. No commercials.
No, we never edit. I don't believe in that.
So there you go. You can get what you can't get anywhere else. You're going to get here. I promise you. So where are we going to get all that writing?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank you, Bob, because I always say I'm a soft sale. Everyone's like, you never really, push anything, and because I believe it's an invitation. But I'm very thankful for you to be that call in, because people want that too, and I need to learn that part. You could be my other part of that, and people want to be, okay, they keep asking you to call in. Okay, I'm gonna, right? So that's a really good trait, and it's something that is important. And for me, our websites are all in their 5+ years here growing stages. So it's really interesting that all of them. I had one website, www.internalnarcissies.com, and that's where it started. And then it grew into Internal Journeys. So Internal Journeys at the 5.5 years here birthday mark is going to be released and go live with a new creative director that's designed the site for me to talk more about the work. It's not a glorified journal of me living and growing out loud for 5 years. It's a place that you could come see, how does this benefit me? How does working with Kellie, how is that different with other people? What will happen if I take the journey? What are the prices? What are the different ways of action to interact? And so this whole new website's going to be really good for people who want to vet me, who want to take a closer look but don't want to make that call yet. And it's www.internaljourneys.com. And eventually we'll have the next two sites go live, which is My Internal Journeys
and Kellie J. Wright, which will be for my speaking platforms, the radio shows, and it will also, My Internal Journeys is going to be a place where all the people who are taking the transformations can live and grow out loud too. I want to open a platform for people to share and live and grow out loud if that so moves them. It's from and through each other that we grow in our greatest leaps and bounds, I truly believe. And that's another reason we want you to call in and share and become a part of the journey, so you could really, you don't know, your question might help someone else that doesn't have the voice to ask.
That's right.
Or you might get an answer you never thought, and it will take you to a place you never dreamed of, a place beyond belief. So I encourage you, if you feel the call, write down the number or call us next week. It was a great birthday check-in. Again, I don't have my intros and outros recorded yet. We grow slow, but I want to thank Bob Charles for being my engineer and having me on your radio show. Thank you for providing Conscious Speaks Radio platform. I'd like to thank everybody out there for listening and everyone who supported me in my journey, because it doesn't happen without you. We create our world by looking out, and those that connect to us is how it works. It's a circle.
Well, there you go. And it has been an awesome show. Thank you very much. You are beautiful. So therefore, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
And let's just keep on going.
Yeah.
And as I always say, what you got to do is you got to go to the blog. That's bobcharlesshow.blogspot.com. Go there and you can find out all about what we're doing, what Kellie's doing, how she's doing it, and it's in there. So get over there. Now, you can also get into the phone room. In the blog is the complete instructions on how to call this show and be heard. Take yourself, your whole self, put it on the phone and give it to us. Tell us what is on your mind. Till that time, God bless y'all. Bob Charles.
God bless y'all.